Laura Trump attempted to do her job as co-chair of the RNC today by appearing on Fox News, giving an interview that just reflected the general sense of anxiety around the Trump campaign as it goes further and further downhill every day. It seems like no matter what Donald Trump does, whether it is calling into Fox or typing away with those tiny little fingers on Truth Social or giving a speech. I put the speech in quotes because they're not even speeches at this point. They're just rambling diatribes. But whatever he does, it just gets worse for Donald. And that was the same with Laura Trump's panicked interview today, because I can just hear it in Laura's voice. She is so scared at how poorly this Trump campaign is doing and how much Kamala Harris is surging. And all of her answers kind of just backfired in the lies that she tried to tell. But before we get into those lies, I want to check out a quick clip of one of the most ridiculous lies that Laura Trump has really ever told.
To be honest, she has failed upward her entire career. Somehow we know why Joe Biden chose her to be vice president with him. He said, these aren't my words, these are his. We want to choose someone not based on merit, not based on their skill set, not based on the fact that they might be the best person for the job of vice president, based on how she looked, based on the fact that this is a woman, based on the fact that she was a minority woman. That's really gross as far as I'm concerned. I'm a woman. Do me a favor. Don't ever give me a position based on the fact that I'm a woman. Either I earned it or I didn't. And that's it. That's all I need.
I know that one of the qualifications that you must have, and there are very few, to become a MAGA Republican, to join the cult of MAGA, is that you have to be a complete hypocrite. But it also seems like it is a qualification of being a part of the Trump family, because who is Laura Trump to call Kamala Harris unqualified or a DEI candidate? First of all, Kamala Harris has been in public office longer than Donald Trump and JD Vance combined, so we can start there. But really, Laura, you think that you would never accept a position if you didn't deserve it? What about the current position that you hold now? What besides your last name qualifies you to be the co-chair of a major political party? I don't understand. Again, complete hypocrisy and absolutely ridiculous. And there were those types of lies from Laura Trump that just made this Fox interview so crazy, aside from the fact that she is clearly panicking, much like the rest of the Trump campaign is. But before we get into that, if I could quickly ask you to hit that like button and subscribe if you have not already to this channel. It really goes a long way and means the world to me. Now let's get into this interview with Laura Trump.
Yeah, well, listen, we were very proud of the Republican National Convention. I think what people saw with our convention is that you actually saw a path forward for this country. You saw Donald Trump and people every single night of our election, or of our convention, lay out how we are going to make life better for you. I didn't hear a single night of anybody talk at the DNC about that. You saw unity with our party from the RNC. You had a very positive feeling coming out of that. The DNC was a lot of Trump hating. It seems like they're attempting to run on hating Donald Trump, on platitudes, on vibes, and on emotion. That is not going to put food on the table for the people of this country. That is not going to bring down your gas prices. That is not going to get us out of wars around the world. Donald Trump had a plan. He put it in place in 2016 when he won that election. He has done this job before, and we demonstrated at our convention how he would do it again. You haven't heard a single thing from the Democrats on the other side, Maria. And so I think the American people are probably left feeling pretty hollow and empty after watching that DNC. Because, again, you know, you're not going to get your grocery prices lower, and you're not going to stop the fentanyl pouring over our southern border by electing people based on emotion and vibes.
This is a talking point that I'm seeing from MAGA a lot lately about the DNC. And I just think it just further shows how great of a convention it was that Republicans are trying to say that it wasn't fun, or it was boring, or that it was angry. What was angry in their mind were hilarious attacks landed on Donald Trump and the rest of the MAGA movement every day. And then they want to accuse Democrats of saying that we're only talking about Trump. Well, that's absolutely not true. Every night we saw the forward-looking vision of the Democratic Party from our young, fresh faces like AOC, like Pete Buttigieg, like Colin Allred in Texas. We have exciting young Democrats all across the party. I didn't even get into incredible governors like Gretchen Whitmer or Josh Shapiro. And so to make that accusation is just ridiculous, especially because of how patriotic the DNC was. And I think someone who made a great comment about that I want to play before we get into the rest of this interview was Jessica Tarlov.
There were more American flags at the DNC than there were at the RNC.
Patriotism is cool when it's new.
I am so glad that Democrats are regaining the brand of patriotism within our party, because it is so clear which party actually loves America, loves this country, wants to make it better. It's the Democratic Party. And for so long, Republicans have claimed the flag or claimed the word freedom when they fight against both those things. Republicans don't believe in freedom except for the freedom to give huge tax cuts to billionaires and giant corporations, the freedom to invade your doctor's office or your bedroom or your family room, to interfere with your life. And that's not what Democrats want. They want you to have the freedom to live how you want to live, to express yourself how you want to express yourself, how you want to love how you want to love. Matters of heart and health, as Gavin Newsom says so perfectly, that's where Democrats want you to be free. And that's not the truth about Republicans. And of course, Democrats are much more patriotic. Republicans every day right now are cheering for an economic crash, while Democrats are fighting for the working class. This is a complete contrast and is incredibly clear. And it's why Lara Trump is so panicked and trying to push a message like this, which just doesn't resonate.
How important was the RFK Jr. support?
Oh, I think it's huge. And I think the Democrats are very upset about that. And that's great. And I actually think he did a great thing when he came out and not just said, I'm endorsing Donald Trump, but here's why, because the Democrats are a threat to our country.
I don't think the endorsement of RFK Jr. for Donald Trump is going to move this election as much as Republicans want to say. Nate Silver, a prominent data analyst and pollster, has already started talking about how we're really just not seeing an RFK Jr. bump for Donald Trump. And even more so, I think RFK Jr. brings up a lot of baggage for Donald Trump that will hurt him more than it will help him. Talking about vaccine skepticism and conspiracies is not something that Donald Trump wants to bring up, especially as the clips of him saying that he won't give a single penny to any public school with a vaccine mandate, not a COVID vaccine mandate, but a vaccine mandate at all, is something that voters really hate and could really hurt Donald Trump. I guess that he, now with RFK Jr., wants to change his slogan to make chickenpox great again by denying science, but that is a decision for Donald Trump to make. It's just not resonating, and it won't, in the same way that this message right here doesn't resonate, because it's just so hypocritical.
That if you're a person who is attempting to cheat in our elections, or an illegal citizen attempting to illegally vote in our elections, we will find you, we'll track you down, and we'll prosecute you to the full extent of the law.
So, Laura, if you want to go after people who attack our elections and try to cheat, I have someone really great I could introduce you to. It's your father-in-law. I find it so funny that MAGA Republicans want to continue to fearmonger about elections when we know that they're the only ones who try to commit fraud. Of course, there have been very, very minimal instances of voter fraud, and oftentimes they turn out to be Republicans who are trying to vote for Donald Trump multiple times. So it's always hilarious to me when those stories come up. But Donald Trump didn't attempt voters fraud on a small scale. He himself didn't try to vote twice. But what he did do is try to strip millions of Americans of their voices and of their vote in Georgia, in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada, Arizona. Donald Trump tried to push not different slates of electors, as they like to say. They didn't push alternate slates. Sorry, that is the word that they like to say. Always complete BS. They try to push fake slates of electors to strip you of your voice and of your vote. That's what Donald Trump did. Wanted to call Brad Raffensperger to get a couple more votes. Can you go and find those? Find me some more votes? And that isn't an effort to find the 11,000 more votes. What that is an effort to do is overturn the voice and the vote, like I said, the will of millions of people across this country. That's what Donald Trump wants to do. And so for Lara Trump to try to make this point that they're going to be going after people who are committing election fraud, maybe you should just look at yourself, as Donald Trump already has begun denying and trying to sow distrust in the results of this election, saying he's not sure if he'll accept it yet. He's not sure if it's going to be safe and fair and legal. And that is something that we cannot just let slide. This rhetoric that we see from Lara Trump here and MAGA Republicans at large, The media, in my opinion, I've got a lot of opinions on them, but the media needs to do a better job at making sure that these calls that are trying to sow distrust in our democracy aren't just kind of breezed past, that we actually call them out for what they are, attacks on our democracy. We have secure elections, and anyone trying to suggest as subtly as they want to, or as Donald Trump does, just flat out deny elections, anyone who does that should be called out because they're attacks on our democracy. They hurt our institutions, and it's just un-American. You talk about the party of patriotism, that's the country, that's the party that believes in the fair elections that happen in this country and supports those outcomes no matter what. That always puts country over party. That's patriotic, and that is certainly not MAGA. And we are going to keep calling them out every single day on this show. And like I said, if you want to support us, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and if you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. It really goes a long way supporting the show and would mean the world to me. And until next time, I'll see you soon.